Day 2 on the Cadillac Escalade, and the new radio's here, and now we're actually going to start on the job because yesterday was my wife's birthday, so I didn't get anything done. So the new unit's here. This is the new radio. All bubble wrapped up, got to get that open, and these were the brackets and everything off the original that they sent back with it, and the screws. The company that took care of me on this, I want to make sure that they actually get blasted out because it was very cool. I didn't know they existed, and I didn't realize they weren't for personal. So if you're a shop and you're in Indiana, I don't know how far out these guys go, then you might want to set up an account with these guys. And if you already know who they are and you think I'm stupid for not, I don't know, man. I never knew these guys even existed. But yeah, the guy brought me by koozies and stuff. So Elite Tech. Anyway, you can go ahead and take the information. You can screenshot, whatever you want to do. But basically what it is if you're a shop, set up an account with these guys. And if you have a car that needs to be programmed or you have codes that are on the dash, they can come to your shop and they'll fix it, reprogram it. They'll clear the codes. They'll do all kinds of crap, dude. I don't know why I did not know these guys existed, but that's how this happened. So one of my buddies who has a dealership referred me. So I called them, told them what I needed done. And bro, the guy came to my house. He picked up the old radio as the core charge. He went, picked up this radio and brought this radio back to me this morning. It's crazy. It was like awesome customer service. It's very cool. Love finding companies that like go above and beyond. I mean, it's very rare I come across that. And if they save me time, it's awesome. So thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you taking care of me, and hopefully you get some more business. So on the Escalade here, wow, this thing is packed full of electronics and wiring. I mean, it's a badass ride. Like most GMs, they have the giant rubber boot there, and then you can see at the very top, like, see that little opening? That's the nipple that's sticking off of it. So I cut the nipple because that's normally a pass-through. On this one, it's not. It was just a nipple. So it served me no purpose. And it put the hole that I was gonna have to go through very close to the bundle of wiring. So I decided not to use the nipple, and I've went through right there. This massive box, which is more than likely a BCM, fuses, whatever, but taking the cover off seems almost impossible based on all these modules. So this is a whole bunch of stuff that needs to get out of the way. Now, it may be easy to take out of the way and I just don't know it. It may be a couple bolts and it drops out. I really didn't feel like trying to pull apart things and get 10 feet deep into this, realizing I'm gonna gut the entire underdash. Behind that plastic piece is the bundle coming through, but you can't get your hands, you can't touch it. And if I can get my light, you can barely see it. It's way up there past that yellow airbag plug. Up there is the other side of that plug. So to do it, what I do is I start with something very small. So I puncture through with just this, just see if I feel any resistance. If I feel like there's any resistance, then I back away, try to find a different spot where I feel like it's gonna go through on the other side without hitting any bundles. Once I do that, then I go through with a plastic, and I push this through because this is not gonna gouge wiring. I push that through, then when I get it through, I can kind of wiggle, see if it feels like I'm gonna be good and I'm gonna have enough room to run the wiring. Once I do that, I have my special firewall tools. So the special firewall tools, if you don't have one of these, I've had this since I worked at Best Buy, so that's been a long time. But basically it's a hollow screwdriver, a sharp end on it, and a hole. So you can push that through a rubber grommet, run wire through it, and then you can have a pull. If you've never seen one, these are very cool and you should have one. So I got the plastic piece in there, so then I take this and I feed it through, but I feed it through kind of at a pointing down angle and I spin it just to make sure I can feel if I'm gonna hit anything. Once that was through and I was like, okay, I think I'm good, then you can move up to the big dog, which this will take 4-gauge wire, and I have a bunch of interchangeable ends, real long ones, short ones, whatever. These are very cool. You can get them on Amazon. Then I put this through, feel around. Once I know I'm good, then I fed a little, just a standard yellow, like 16 gauge wire through to see if I could find it on the other side. I did, I pulled it down. Then I attached to that 8 gauge wire and I pulled it through. Once I had that pulled through and I found it and had it down there at the floor, then I attached the 4 gauge to the 8 gauge wire and I pulled the 4 gauge through. And now you have what you have is a 4 gauge wire ran through the firewall. So now that that strip is there, I will take the actual length I'm going to use, that will attach to that piece, and now I'm going to pull it from the other side back through, and then this will run all the way across to the battery where I'll put the fuse and the wire, and then that will complete our wire ran through the firewall. Okay, so now that the wire's through the firewall, now we can start looking at some other things that need to be done. First is ANC. Now, it would take me 10 minutes to explain to you what ANC is. Just know that your vehicle may or may not have up to 10 microphones inside of it that can listen anytime at once and may be actually listening and recording. You'll never know. But all the new cars have it. Well, not all, a lot of them, most of them. ANC, active noise canceling. You have to bypass that. If you don't, the microphones will pick up the subwoofer, think of it as road noise, and will play it back through your speakers, and it'll backfeed. It'll create this wah, wah, weird, horrible noise. So with the Amp Pro, you get this harness. This is the ANC bypass harness. You take the side panel off, and way back in there, you'll see there's your Bose amplifier. And then you access the plugs right there. That bottom plug that's in there, that is where we are going to put that bypass plug. Now with the bypass done for the ANC, we can look at the Amp Pro's wiring. Here's the T-harness. So these two plugs are going to go to the car. This is going to go out to the Amp Pro box. Based on the length, how much I have, dictates where I can put the Amp Pro. Normally I'll put it on the driver's side behind the trim, so we'll check that out. But right there, that black box, see the green plug, the gray plug, the black plug, that is your tuner. That's actually the radio. The screen isn't the radio, it's just the display. So there are our plugs. So we're gonna unplug those, plug in the Amp Pro T-harness, then we're gonna have to drop that line down there and see where we end up to figure out where we can mount the Amp Pro box. So I've got my power, my RCAs, and the ACR and remote wire together. This is where I settled for the Amp Pro, so it's mounted right on the inside there. Gives me access to the plugs here on the front, and I can plug in the bass knob because that's also how you control minimum volume. So if I need to adjust anything, it's accessible right there. The new radio installed, everything's plugged in, so now it's ready for trim. We'll begin running our lines all the way to the back. That was a nightmare. This thing is tighter than a frog's ass. There is no room for even that minimal amount. If you were gonna do a big system in here with a lot of wiring, you have to remove the full interior, which basically means removing these seats because you would have to pull off everything. There is just no room. It took so much effort to get that back here. But everything's back here and done. So that wiring is finished up. So the next step's back here, mount the subs in the enclosure, get the amp mounted up there and get everything lined up the way I want. And then it'll be a matter of setting the enclosure in here and wiring that all up. And as far as the interior, it is all back together, finished up. Looks like I was never here. So that's perfect. I have the ACR3's wire hanging right there because I'll end up doing the bass knob like right here, but I won't drill a hole. I'm gonna have to double mount it or something. There's just no spots on this vehicle to actually add an extra knob. Under the hood tomorrow, we got to put the fuse, which it's gonna go over here more than likely, and then we'll run across over to the power wire. Tomorrow we got to finish under the hood, the power wire, and then we have to mount the subs in the enclosure. We have to mount the amplifier, and then we have to set it in the vehicle, run the wiring up through the enclosure, up to the amplifier, wire that all up. That should be it, and fire it up. I say that like it's easy. I still got to laser the lid and all that stuff. So this though was the not fun portion that hurts my body because I'm old, fat, and I have a bad back, so at least that's done. But that's it, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna call it night. I think it's about 7 o'clock and there's no reason to start phase of anything next right now. It's too late. So I will see you tomorrow.